Hello and welcome backstage to Seeing Ink Spots. Today it's a Use It Up class, and this is just for you, those of you who have a backstage pass. This class is going to be fun. It's a fairly simple class. Well, simple for me. I am featuring the Just My Type stamp set. I have that right here. I know it's backwards for you, but you all have an imagination, right? So this is Just My Type, and I really like this set. Kat, hi, good to have you here. Kat, I think you're like my most devoted watcher. You're always the first one on, so there should be a prize for that, don't you think? I think so, yeah. Check your next kit. Anyhow, good Thursday morning, that's right. So I have two people on. I'm not sure who the second one is just yet, but that is my cue to say good Thursday morning and welcome to Use It Up. Today's class, as I mentioned, is Just My Type. I do have a little bit of business before we begin stamping. So let me do a quick flip of my camera here and we'll get some business done, and then, or maybe we're gonna mix it up a little bit, and maybe this is what I'm gonna do. I think we're gonna mix up. We're gonna start straight with stamping, all right? So here's the hand, and the spin, and the flip. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Maybe come forward just a skosh. Yep. Whoops, knocking stamps around. Let's see. I still need to, I'm gonna just do a little bit of adjusting of the camera here. Sorry about this, folks. Let's see. Things to talk about while, okay, give us a little bigger view. There we go. Let me know if that's okay or if I need to make an adjustment. All right, so Just My Type. This is our class for today, and I am mixing it. If you saw the supply list, it said a fun embossing folder. And so from the basics folders, my choice of fun folder is going to be this. It's like a hobnail, and it's really, I think it's cool. Hello, Kim. Good to have you here. I'm still not sure who the other person is that's watching. So we have Kat and Kim and somebody else, whoever that third person is, say hello. Anyhow, I selected this one, this hobnail look, because I really liked the mix of the circles in this, with the circles in the keys of the typewriter, and with the hello. So, I kind of took my cue from that. Hello, Kathleen. Good to have you here as well. Good to have everybody here. It's a stampin' day. Okay, so this is the fun folder that I'm using. This is what I selected. You're gonna select whatever you have on hand. In fact, if you don't have this stamp set, that's okay. Just find a stamp set and find some papers that you like and matching colors and stamp along or create later. Okay, so I have to tell you why I really like this stamp set. The reason I like this is, one, the typewriter. I mean, I love typewriters. I think they're fun. I have an old vintage one right behind me here. Jennifer, my daughter-in-law, she collects typewriters, and my dad has a whole bunch of old classic typewriters as well. But what's cool about this hand-drawn set is that we have solid images and we have open line images. And so that really creates some nice contrast when stamping projects. So that's kind of, why this one appeals to me. Plus, I just think it's cute and fun. Okay, so this is our class today. Now let us begin. This is the Use It Up pack. This kit, you can only get this kit in one way. There's only one way you can earn this kit, and let me tell you how you can get this kit. So this kit goes out to, and I'll just kind of bring a little ad here. This kit, so if you had a $75 purchase on my host code last month, that earned you last month's technique class, which was timeless arrangements. That earned you that kit for free, plus this kit. So next month, if you actually sign up for, or you actually not sign up, you have to pay, you have to have an order. If you have an order during the month of July for $75 or more, like Kat has already done that, so she's got one, and several others have as well, you're going to get the Cheerful Daisies kit along with next month's Use It Up kit, and that's going to be the bird's eye view. So that's the only way you can get this, is if you are actually placing an order. That will send it right to you. So if you're curious, let me bring this back in. So this is the ad for last month's. This month's ad looks very similar. I'm going to post it today in the Backstage Pass with a current. This is last month's host code. So what is the deadline for ordering? You can order all month, Jolinda, but if you want to get this month's Cheerful Daisies kit along with next month's Bird's Eye View kit, you'll need to do that by next Friday, because that's when I'm going to cut the kits and then put them in the mail that very next morning, so that they're to you in time for the next week. Okay, so here is this kit. Now, this kit, as I was using it, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of stuff in here. So for those of you who have this kit, a little bonus, some of this I'm going to use next week in our pickup class. So, and I'll probably add some more, but you'll have a few pieces that are in here that we're going to save for next week. Okay, so let me just set this aside. As always, we have a little smalls bag. Keep that handy. And we have some ribbons. Let me tell you about these ribbons. So these two supplies here are what we are using up. This is stuff that is this is stuff that has been, it's retired. It is Stampin' Up! Product, but I am using it up. So my plan here is to use some of this stuff up. So this ribbon here, this, if you don't recognize it, it's a Calypso Coral ribbon, and it came with Daffodil and Pool Party. It was a celebration offering, oh gosh, probably like 5 years ago. And so this is the last of it. This is the very last piece of it. Hello, Antoinette. Haven't seen you in a while. Hi. And then this one here, I believe you can still order this one in the clearance rack. This comes as a combo pack with a pink. And this is the very last piece of this as well for me. So yay for me for using it up. And then, of course, I have all kinds of embellishments in here that I'm using up. Some are retired, some aren't. I think most of them are retired, except for the brass butterflies. Anyhow, so we're using that up. And cardstock. These are all current colored cardstocks, but I'm using up my stash, right? And I am also using some of the Delightfully Eclectic Designer Series paper. And so I thought this one, and you might have a different variation on this, I thought this was perfect for a typewriter class, right? So we're going to use this on our very first card. Here is the back. It's kind of a blueberry bushel and vanilla. It's kind of super pretty. I like that. We're going to use this one today as well. And then these three, this one inspired the color palette for my last card, but these three pieces I will probably use next month in our So Refreshing class. So if you have a Use It Up class kit, you also have a little bit of next week's class kit. Kind of fun. Okay, so let's just charge right along with our first card here. Our first card, we're going to use the yellow and the green that I provided in the kit. Okay, let's see, what else are we going to use? We're going to use a piece of white for sure. And I'm going to reach in here and let me show you the difference. Okay, so that's Misty Moonlight. That's easy. But we have two colors here that are similar in color. We have Bubble Bath and we have Fresh Freesia. So if you can kind of see them. So the lighter one is the Bubble Bath. So that's what we're going to use. And Antoinette, you don't feel good today. That's just a real bummer that you're not feeling well. Hopefully maybe watching a little bit of stamping will distract you from your woes. Okay, moving right along. So the first thing I want to do, I'm also using a couple sets of dies here. You don't have to use these. You can use whatever you want. But I am using the Nested Essentials. And so these are the Nested Essentials. I'm going to use the largest tag here. Let me pull that one out. And from the Gorgeously Made, I'm going to use this one, okay? I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer that we're going to use this kind of spiral bound. When you rip the paper out, this is what's left. That's exactly what we're going to do to this piece of paper here, okay? And then I'm also, and I haven't done this yet, so I'm going to need to do it along with you. I'm going to cut the centers of these out, all right? I'm going to do that for both of them. So we're going to do that, but let me bring back these Gorgeously Made dies one more time. This is part of this set here. Yes, Kim, you need to get these Nested Essential dies because they are essential. They're just so perfect. They're basic shapes that are a little bit, you know, a little less common than circle and square and rectangle, right? That's why they're essential. Okay, so this set here, this set of dies matches the Gorgeously Made stamp set, but you'll notice here, these are different from most sets of dies in that there are no open images that match a coordinating stamp. So if you're interested in just the dies, you're not missing out because this label here will fit tons of things. But there's not like an open die that goes around a flower or a leaf that if you don't have the image, it just doesn't make sense to have. This is also a great, I wouldn't say it's a basics. It's a little bit more artsy than a basic, but you're going to get two really great leaves that look entirely different. A ripped edge, kind of a faux tape look, and then this spiral here. So Karen says, good morning, Elizabeth. So glad I'm able to catch you today. You will be my entertainment while tidying up, I'm going to say kitchen. It says Seymour, the kitchen. Yes. Okay, well, it will be fun. Make your washing the dishes a little bit better. Okay, so first things first, let's do this. Let's trim this piece down. We're going to trim this down to be about, let's see, I think we're going to trim it down to about a little more than 4 inches. I'm sorry, not 4 inches. We're going to take it down to about 5 1/8. Okay, so I'm just making it just a skosh smaller than 5 1/4. So 5 1/8. And then I'm going to trim this side down to be about 3 3/8, or 3 7/8 rather. Just changing it up just a little bit because I want my yellow and my greens to show. And what a color combo this is. It's like, where the heck did this come from? It came from just laying things down and going, it's summertime, I'm going to add color. Because yeah, look at all these colors. And then we're also going to throw in some Calypso Coral. And there's my ink color palette. So we're going to use Calypso Coral and Garden Green. So it's kind of a summery palette here. Okay, so let's get to some die cutting. I'm going to pull out my Post-it labeling tape. Okay. This comes in a couple sizes. It comes in a narrow and a wide. So I'm using the narrow right now. And I'm just putting this right on the edge of my DSP. And I'm going to secure it because I don't want it to wiggle. I'm going to send it through my Stampin' Cut and Boss machine. Do that real fast here. And actually, well, there's not enough room on the cutter. Oh well, I was gonna try and do both at the same time, but there's just not enough room on the plate, not the cutter. Okay, so here is this. Here's the discard. And then here is this. We'll just pull this off, gently off. And I'll put this back in my nested. I'm just going to leave that piece of Post-it tape there because I know I'm going to do it again another day. I want to point out something to you, that this is the piece that was left behind, right? If you had actually done this a little further over, I did this on a card and I'll probably do it again. We're gonna relook at these dies and the matching stamp set or the coordinating stamp set again. But if you want to make a cool zipper card, is you just kind of have this piece a little bit larger, obviously, and then you could zip that right open. So cool. Love that type of effect. Okay, now with these two, it doesn't really matter. One's, yours are both the same size. I'm just using a scrap here, using up a scrap. I'm just gonna cut both of these at the exact same time. I find that you can get through 2 pieces of cardstock, especially if you're using Stampin' Up! Stamp and Cut Emboss machine, because it has a little more pressure than the Big Shot. So I'm gonna run 2 through. And I'm doing that smack dab in the middle. Now this will be for our second project, okay? And this will be for next week, maybe. I was just using up some paper. And rather than having all this paper hiding behind the DSP, I thought, well, why not, you know, take something right out of the middle, because we're gonna layer these pieces. We're gonna put one behind here and one behind here. So why have all that wasted cardstock? So giving it just a little bit more usefulness to me. And now the last thing I wanna do is run my green through my bubbles here, or the hobnail die or embossing folder. But you know what? I think I should probably do it straight because it will kind of show. So my sandwich for this 3D folder, I think you probably know, but let's go over it. It's going to be plate 1, then the 3D folder, and then plate number 4. Now, if you're using a Big Shot, you're going to use your multi-purpose platform with no tabs, and then your 3D folder, and then your blue plate. Okay, if you don't have a blue plate, you can buy a number 4. Antoinette, excited to see what you're gonna do with this color combo. Yeah, it's kind of it's, you know, sometimes you just have to let stuff happen. A lot of times when we stamp and whatnot, I kind of have a preconceived idea of what I'm gonna do or what color combo I'm gonna do. And then sometimes I sit down and just stamp, and it's like, well, who knows what it's gonna be. And this was one of those. I just started stamping elements and kind of mixing things around and went, okay, all right, I think I know where this is gonna go now. Okay, so speaking of where I think this is gonna go now, I think what I'm gonna do is set these pieces aside, and let's work on this piece and our piece of white, because we're gonna need our pieces of white elements done so that we know where we're gonna stamp on this piece of Designer Series paper. So let's put some ink to our stamps here. And I think I need to give this just a quick little clean because I'm not sure what I did last with it. There we go. I'm gonna stamp the typewriter in Calypso Coral. And you know what? I should have brought, I should have brought like a catalog or a mouse pad or the paper piercing mat with me. You know what? I have something right here I'm gonna grab. I just want a little bit of cushion. And so right now I'm stamping directly on my granite countertop. So I'm just gonna throw this, I'm in the kitchen, so yeah, look what's here. I just want a little bit of cushion underneath. This is a large, solid image. And so I just wanna make sure that I get it stamped the best I can. If it slightly misses in a few places, I call it art, and I kind of like that. Now, when you're inking a large image up like this, especially for the first time, run it across. If you've got a pair of jeans on, I just kind of run the stamp. I kind of sand it off on my jeans, if that even makes sense. I know Laura Holt had asked, I think a couple weeks ago, about her images not taking ink as well. Sometimes they need to be cleaned before you use them, or kind of prepped in a way. So stamping on Versamark will also help. Kayleen says she rubs her heel of her hand across hers, and so I've done that too. So, not necessarily with this one, but I've done that process. Okay, so I'm just gonna stamp this down in the corner. Easy enough, right? Oh, look, and that little bit of cushion made just the right amount of difference that I needed. And now with a Post-it note, let's see here, we've got some used ones, that's okay. I'm gonna take my Post-it note and go right across the tops right here on these little sections, and I'm gonna leave just a hint of that calypso showing, because I want my image to come all the way to there. Don't cover it all the way up. If you cover it all the way up, you're gonna get a little gap. And so this is one of the papers that's in the stamp set. Now the stamp set actually has 2 different pieces of paper. So you could use either one, the one that's nice and crisp or the one that has a little bit of a fold over. I like this one. It has character. And you'll see that I'm actually going to use it and not the other one at all. I kind of gravitated to certain stamps today. So I'm stamping the paper right on top there. Now we'll pull this away. Very good. I mean, I could have had that go all the way down to there, but you know, you decide where you want it to go. I wanted more to show. So there's that. And then with one of the greetings in the set, this is the thank you. Maybe you can read it this way, backwards. We're going to stamp Garden Green, thank you, right on the typed paper. Just like that. Cool. And a little bit more stamping. Leave the green out. Sorry, we're not done with green. We are going to stamp the leaf. So this is kind of the plant. We're going to stamp the plant like right down here. Okay. And I'm just going to leave that there. We're going to stamp it again and then bring Calypso back in. And now we're going to stamp the flower. Sorry, I had ink on my finger. I had to clean it off. This flower, to me, I use it on every card. It's like embellishments. And so it's just kind of a fun paper embellishment. And we're going to stamp 3 of them on our paper here. There's our 3 flowers. And I can close my ink pads. Well, we're going to get them back out in just a minute, but I'm going to move them far away so I don't get myself in trouble. And we're going to do a little bit of coloring on these flowers, and then we're going to cut everything out. But I already have mine cut out, so you won't have to watch me do all that. Okay, so my ink colors that I'm going to use, I'm going to use Daffodil Delight and Bubble Bath. So you could use crushed curry, whatever, just use yellow and pink. a light pink that will pick up our Bubble Bath paper. Maybe you have Pretty in Pink, a really old color, or maybe you have, you know, just find what's in your stash. You have Copic. So this is light, and I think I can take our cushion out of here. This is light daffodil, and I'm coloring the full circles in on my daisies here. Now I'm taking dark, and what I'm going to do is just kind of a little like, I'm just doing like the letter C in here so that I'm not filling the whole thing in with that dark. And I don't think you can pick up on it, but it leaves just a little bit of a highlight in the center of the flowers there. Now with the nib end, I am just going to color the petals. And you know me, I kind of do things the same way. If I have some white spots in there, I do not worry about it. I call it art. I call it just kind of a natural little highlight. So I'm just giving this a quick wash of color, or quick, you know, swoosh of color with our light. Now I'm going to go in with the dark, and I'm going to do just kind of like, you know, up the sides on some of these petals. I'm just not coloring the whole thing in. I definitely want there to be some variation to these leaves so that they're not just pink, that there's a little bit of just color variation in there. Okay, so that's it for that. That was easy peasy. Now what we're going to do is fussy cut all of those images. So like I said, I have mine done ahead of time, so you're not having to watch me do that. Now the flowers take a little bit of time, but they're not hard. But these typewriters, they go pretty stinking fast. So they're very easy to cut out. So I've cut out my 3 flowers, and I've cut out my green foliage. So I'm going to use these. I'll make another card. Don't know what it's going to be, but I'll make another card with that. Okay, so now I want to kind of dry fit my elements here. So let me add some dimensionals to the back of the typewriter. Okay. I still have not received my order. Of course, I just placed it for mini dimensionals. So I'm still using weird mini dimensionals. I'm cutting up all kinds of stuff. So my typewriter is going to lay right about here. And then I'm going to do a flower here. And I'm going to do some greenery in here. And I have a couple more flowers. And then we're going to stamp some flowers. And this is what your pencil is for today. I want to do, if this is where I'm going to put it, I think I'm going to move it over just a little bit. I'm going to do just a little, like I've just drawn a little corner there. I'll pick this up a little bit higher in just a second. And then I think I'm going to do a dot here. That's going to be a flower. And then I want another flower down here. So in other words, I'm going to stamp a flower there and I'll stamp another flower there. Okay. But I just needed to see where my main elements were going to be before I did that. Okay. So with your foliage stamp, we're actually going to stamp that off. And I'm just going to stamp it right here on my paper. And I'm going to stamp the foliage right there. Okay, so now when I bring this back in, I've got kind of a nice collection of foliage around my typewriter. And now we're done with that one. With the floral image, we're going to use Calypso Coral. And we're going to stamp directly on the DSP. So we'll do one flower here, kind of right where that dot is. And here's another flower. Rotate that image right about there. Wow, they're like straight up and down on each other. That's okay. Before we put everything on, we're going to do a little bit more coloring. We're going to color these two flowers the exact same way we did the first. So, and actually, let me see that dot. My pencil line is right in the center of that. So I'm just going to remove it. I'm going to do, just in case it shows, just removed my pencil marks. So here's the center of my flowers. That was the light, a little bit of a swoosh action. And now with the pink, here's, make sure I have the, yep, this is the light. And same exact thing. And the color, when you put it down on this DSP at first, it has a tendency to be a little bit on the muddy side, but as it dries, it warms up and looks cute. So that was the light. Now just a little variation in here. And you can blend how you like. That's it. That is the stamping for that. Now we're going to assemble everything. So let me close this green ink pad before we have a disaster. Okay, bringing all of our pieces back in, and we're going to use the Calypso Coral ribbon in here as well. So I'm going to tie my ribbon. Now this ribbon is about 18 inches long, okay? And I'm going to just tie a big bow in it. Get the ends how you like. Kind of a big floppy bow. Okay, so that's ready. Now let's do a little bit of laying out of our paper. And these papers, I'm going to try and keep the yellow and the green somewhat, maybe that's cantilevering over the edge just a little bit. And I'm looking at this one here. So we have just some of that green and yellow peeking through, okay? So I kind of like those. And these are going to glue down. Uh-oh, I didn't prep my glue before class. Here we go. Come on. Okay, hopefully we're working. I'm actually gonna just hold these together because I like the way they are. Sometimes you get them and you're like, ah, what did I do? I can't remember what I just did. So I'm just getting some glue on the green and the yellow. Okay, just a little hanging off the edge. So a couple of what I'd call kind of, you know, crooked, cockeyed, however you want to call it. And now we'll put our Designer Series paper on. So what do you guys think of this die edge here, of this like fun little, just curious what you guys, if you have it, if you like it. Okay, so here's this. Now I am, what I was just starting to do, going to kind of rough this up just a little bit to make it look as though we did pull it out of a, you know, a binder of paper, or, you know, just kind of have some fun with that. And now we'll come back in and add our elements. So there's our typewriter. So we'll put the typewriter down. Jolinda, you love it and need it. It is. It's a cool little, we've had some stuff like it before. I'm just glad they finally came out with a die of it. Best thing since sliced bread. Hey, Jacqueline, you're on, but a little late. That's okay. Okay, so my pieces that are fussy cut, I prepped them. They have a little bit of, I've lost a flower. They already have mini dimensionals on them. So I'm going to add my other piece of foliage there. And I have a flower going like right about here. Just looking that I don't have it on the same exact angle. And I think I'm going to move it out just a skosh. There we go. And then I have two right here, but I seem to be missing one. Where did it go? Oh, that's on the floor. Okay, not too bad. So I'm going to do one here. And the one on the floor. Hey, Claudia's here. So Antoinette really likes the edge. She hasn't gotten it yet, but it's on her wish list. The colors are turning out okay, huh? I'm glad you think so. Okay, oops. So these two flowers, they landed in the exact same position, so I'm going to rotate a little. There we go. And then this one here, I'm going to kind of tuck under, kind of add a little bit right there. Okay. And then our bow is going to just kind of nestle right in here over on this side. And I can see I want this loop just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to put this on with glue dots. And because it's a fairly big bow, I'm going to actually find some larger glue dots. These are paper pumpkin glue dots. I like these big ones. And then I have really grown to like, so this is the hobby blade and I don't know what the name of this attachment is. A couple weeks ago, we decided it was the plaque remover. But I'm beginning to really use this end a ton. So I'm turning my bow over and I'm going to put several on here. Because it's kind of a big one. It's not twine. So there's my 3 little glue dots there. Oh, and I'm going to keep the plaque remover out. Okay. I mean, it is like a dental pick. But look how great it is. You know what it's really great for? Is pulling the, when you're on your tear and tape, is pulling that stuff off. It's great for that. Okay, so let's see here. We'll take our bow, kind of wiggle it just a little. And I'm going to just a little bit of nuzzle right under the return bar here. Work that, shape it. Now I'm going to trim my ends just a little bit. I kind of like that they're big and floppy. They can still fit in an envelope. They'll get a little squished, but that's okay. Okay, so there's my bow. And I'm going to dive into my smalls bag here. And boy, do we have several older bits and pieces in here. But we're going to use the brushed brass butterflies. I'm using these up. So there's a small one. and a couple large in here. Come on. I just don't want everything else to spill out. Some of these elements are a little bit older. So I think these look like they're all the same size. I can't quite tell. Anyhow, we're gonna have some butterflies on here. And I'm gonna do one here. And I think I'm just gonna do 2. I'm not gonna do 3. And I'll tell you why in just a second here. And I think I'll do another one kind of down here. And the reason I'm only gonna do 2 is because this card, my original, only got 1. So I'm gonna do one more butterfly on this card. And on this one, I don't know, maybe I'll put this one up here. Just keeping it pretty. The very last 2 things I did, I bet you can't guess. I bet you can't guess. I did a little splatter. And she's in the house, folks. Wink of Stella. Oops, this is my original. Here we go. Now, I want to do some splattering, but I don't necessarily want my thank you. I want that paper to be nice and pristine. So I'm just gonna do just a little bit of, I'm just gonna do a tiny bit of masking of the paper. I don't care if the splatter gets in other areas, but I'm gonna use this is the dark Bubble Bath, and I'm just gonna give it a little effervescence, a little splatter of pink. I even did a little splatter of yellow. And with Wink of Stella now, prep her over, not on your card. See, that's exactly why. I'm so glad. Now I can splatter, but I'll even use some of this to paint the flowers. Okay. Get each of these, even the ones that are stamped on the DSP. There we go, folks. We are one and done. How about that? Okay, so completely different color palette than what I would normally go for. But it's interesting just to kind of see what directions, where things are going to take you. But I kind of like it. Bubble Bath, Calypso, green, yellow. Fun times. There you have it. All right, moving right along. Our next card, we're going to use Misty Moonlight is our card base. And these card bases are basic sized, you guys. There's no fun folds in them. We're keeping it easy. So here is my Misty Moonlight. Trying to figure out which way it opens and closes better. I'm gonna give this a good crisp fold, right? Whoops, there's that light. I always seem to hit it. Color-wise, let's see. Our color palette for inks, Fresh Freesia and Misty Moonlight. We're gonna start with that. And then we're also going to use a little bit of, I forgot one color here, Daffodil. Okay, so that's the real color palette for our inks. And let's see, we need, let's bring in our piece of white that we've been using. We'll start with that. And then also you're going to need this piece of pattern paper or something similar and a piece of your Night of Navy that's in there. We die cut this from our first card. We're going to use that yellow right there. And so with our piece of paper here, let's pull out that die again. So this is from the Nested Essentials, and I'm going to die cut myself a banner there. Okay. So for now, I don't want this going through the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, so I'm just going to cut this out. Because putting it through the machine, it will scar these, and I want to use these for later. So now with this piece of paper, I'm going to die cut myself another one of these banners. Oops, I got to switch all my plates here. I'm going to use that again on this card. Gotta sweep it away. Okay, I'm gonna bring these plates back in because we're gonna use them in a second here. Oh, I've got so much stuff out. I love to make a mess. But here we go. So here are our elements. These are our card pieces, our card base pieces. This piece here, I'm actually gonna trim this piece down. It's a little larger than what I want. And so what I'm looking for is a piece that's about 4 1/4 inches long. Instead of, you know, this is 5 1/2. So we're gonna trim it down to 4 1/4. Okay. So if you're ever wondering why the pieces in Use It Up aren't sized right, is because I just gather pieces and I put them in a bag, and then I design with the limitation of what I've put in the bag, if you know what I mean. Because these get packed so early in advance as to actually when we're doing class. So now you know my secrets. The secrets are out. Okay, this piece of DSP, we're gonna cut this down to 4. It's already 4 inches wide. And I'm gonna make it 5 1/4. Okay, hold on to it. You never know when you might wanna use it. Maybe on the inside. So simple, okay? Classic layering here. Antoinette says, when is your next mega class, like the Sentimental Park? I forgot what you call them. I call them Studio Ink Spots. You guys, I've already got it all. I'm just waiting to see the, on July 26th, those of us who are demonstrators will get to preview the holiday catalog online. So once I see that, I will make the very last details, but I do have one coming. It's in September. Registration will begin on July 27th. So one day after seeing that catalog. The Studio Ink Spots for September is going to feature the Paper Florist dies. So we are going to have a lot of fun with the Paper Florist dies, and we're going to use them not only just as, you know, flowers, but we'll turn them into fall and holiday looks as well using that Paper Florist. So that will be September 15th is the game night, and then I think it's the 21st through the 23rd, that Thursday through Saturday of the next week. And new to Studio Ink Spots, we'll be having a garage sale. So a sale of stamps. So, and anyways, those details will all come out a little bit later, but great question, Antoinette, thank you. As I was discussing that, I embossed the hobnail again. Again, this is one of 3 folders from the basics folders that you can find in the online offerings. You don't find it in the catalog. You won't find it in the catalog, rather. It's only in the online offerings. If you need to know, I can actually send you a link to where you can find that. They are great folders. There's 3 of them. There's a hobnail and then kind of a crosshatch. And then there's it's a, I don't even know. It's kind of like a star floral. It's a cool pattern. I haven't used it just yet. Okay. Basic layering on this one right here, you guys. It's just a piece of DSP, you know, and it's a 1/4 inch smaller than my card panel there, but it just gives us a nice backdrop for what's going to be all of our card elements here. So first things first, we are going to add dimensionals to this one. Your birthday is in September? Mine too. When is your birthday, Antoinette? Mine is September 26th. In fact, I think we've had a camp the past 2 years on my birthday. It has fallen in there somewhere. Okay, so here's my navy. Righto. And this is going to be centered right inside all of that. Just this folder, you guys. Look how cool it is. Super fun. I'm going to add a little texture to this piece here with some Daffodil Delight. And the florals, these cute little flowers right in here. folder was on the mind, but wanted to say flowers. Okay, here's the flowers. So we're just going to do some tone on tone. And I know this is kind of crazy, but I'm stamping them, excuse me, on an angle here. Because I'm going to be angling some things and the typewriter is going to come in there. So that's why they're angled like that. And I'm going to glue these on. I'm done with my yellow pad. I can kind of get it out of the way. So these two are going to glue on just kind of like so. All right, so that both of the banners kind of show on the bottom there. So we'll start with the white one. We'll glue. And I always put the glue on the wrong side. And we might have to, so as my glue goes down here, I might have to put a dimensional. I might need to sneak one right under there just to keep it from, because it's going to take some, we're going to be putting some stuff on it. And I don't want it to sag over here on the corner. So I'm just going to take a part of a dimensional here. Let me peel the back off of it. And I'm going to, just my scissors are out, so I'm just going to slide this right under there. Okay, so just a little bit of dimensional action right there so it doesn't fall, it doesn't get too lopsided on us. Now, the reason I'm using glue here is because the hobnails, the little circles are kind of, you know, giving us some dimension as well. So we'll do the same thing here on this one. So maybe on this corner here, I'll just do another little dimensional right there on that corner. And then we'll add glue for the rest of it. And so just kind of like that. Okay, so now it's time to do some stamping and to have some fun on creating a cool little focal point here. So from your kit, grab yourself one of the white papers. And I'm going to bring my foam pad in again. You like my foam pad? It's standing in. It's a stand-in. I'm going to use the Fresh Freesia. And we're going to stamp the typewriter in Fresh Freesia. So got to give it a quick clean here. There's a good cleaning. So when I'm inking this up, I'm kind of letting the weight of the block, I'm not pushing into the pad at all. I am tapping the top and I am twisting and tapping each time to get myself a nice coverage. And same drill here, folks. We're going to stamp down in the bottom corner. Give it a good impression. Beautiful. And for this one, we're going to do the same thing we did. We'll take a little Post-it note here. If you remember, my other Post-it note got destroyed with the Wink of Stella. Oops, I've got a couple pieces here. It feels like I do have two. And I'm just going to cover this up. Maybe I'm going to do this one a little different. I'm going to cover up the bar. We're going to let it go down a little further. Kayleen, you are late to the party. You know what, Kayleen? I have no idea where my foam pads are. No idea. And I have 3 of them. Don't know where they are. They're here somewhere, but nowhere to be found at my house. Okay, so you could use either paper. So I showed it again on the first. So you could use the squared crisp piece or the paper with the corner kind of folded over. I like the character of the one folded over. And I'm going to use yellow, so I'm going to use the daffodil for my paper. And we're going to stamp this one right down to it. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. There it is in yellow. I guess I should have gone all the way down. Oh well, it's okay. No one's going to notice. Go all the way down to the typewriter. It'll look better. Okay. I am going to put this away because we don't need it anymore. And we don't need a fresh freesia anymore. We're finished with that as well. We want a little bit of Misty Moonlight. Keep your foam pad out because we're going to stamp the hello. Okay, cute stamp. Again, letting the weight of the block, I'm not pushing into the pad, I am touching. And I'm going to stamp this. I'm going to turn my paper around. It fits down here. Now, don't get too close to the edge, and I'll tell you why in just a second. We're going to punch these out. And Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry a 3/4 inch punch anymore, but they did years ago. So I am using my stash. Now, I'm sure you can find a 3/4 circle in some of the different circle dies that we do have. So, in fact, I do know that the Stylish Shapes, the smallest circle fits this letter perfectly. But I'm going to use a punch. And the reason I'm going to, that I did move this up a little higher is if it's to the edge, when you're punching something on the edge, it has a tendency to not want to punch if you're too close to the edge of your paper. So, but before I do that, let's just do a little bit more stamping. We're going to stamp 3 flowers. Ah, surprise. 1, 2, 3. And all those need to be fussy cut. Don't put that ink pad away just yet. We're going to stamp the word in there. But here's this right here. Look at how that 3/4 punch fits perfectly on the word hello here. So Kayleen, I don't know if you're still here, but after my class today, I'm headed to, oops, these aren't quite dry. I can see I'm getting messy. After class here, I'm headed to Vintage Market Days. If you're in Utah or Idaho, they have these cool festivals that vendors bring out all this vintage stuff. It's just super cool to go and see and be inspired. Okay, so I've got ink on my fingers. So I'm doing a quick tidy of me before I start to get things on elements I don't want ink. Okay, so if you have a 3/4 punch, pull it out. You've got to go find yours. Okay, back to the ink here. This is the word hi in the stamp set. And I'm just going to put that right in the middle. Hi. Do you guys remember the old way you would center words on a typewriter? You'd have to count the spaces and then go to the center and then count back halfway. I remember my typing classes. Okay, the only coloring we're going to do on the flowers, we're going to make them like Marguerite daisies, and we'll give them a yellow center. So here's light Stampin' Blend. And then that same thing I did on the first one, I'm just going to do a letter C. Okay, and it leaves a tiny little highlight. So you're going to need to fussy cut these items. So I'm just going to do like a rough chop here real fast. The flowers take a little bit of time, not much, but this goes super quick. So I already have mine cut. You won't have to watch me do that. I'll spare you the boredom. There's my typewriter. And here are my 3 flowers. And we'll throw some dimensionals on this, on the back, just like we did card number 1. These cards are all kind of a riff on one another. I'm using the typewriter and the flowers on all of them. Those are my favorite images. I do have a plan I want to make some note cards for Jennifer because she likes to collect these old typewriters, but I'm going to do some cute stuff, and I will use some of the other images in the set, but you can tell the ones I really like, right? Okay, so I'm going to add my typewriter, and it's going to go on a little bit of an angle. Okay, and And I want this yellow to show down here, so I'm going to come up just a little bit, right about there. Cute, cute. And now, hello. This is where it's going to be a little bit different. Some of the letters will have dimension and some will not. Okay. The O will probably have a little bit of a dimensional and some glue. And the H is going to definitely have dimensional on it. And I think the ELL is going to just be glued down. Okay. So it's going to work itself across the top right in here. Okay. And then our flowers, we're going to go a couple there and one down there, working in that kind of triangle formation. And then this is coming into play. We'll tie this in a bow. So this is our leftover ribbon that we are using up. Just kind of pull on these a little bit. So make it a little smaller bow than our first card. Okay. And this, I'm actually going to put my bow on before I put my letters. This is going to kind of reach, it's going to come under right in there. Okay. And then the O is going to kind of sit on top of it. So I think what I'm going to do for this, because it's a little bit bigger, I'm going to do a blob of glue. I know that seems a little crazy, but here it goes. Blob of glue. Antoinette, she remembers that in the typing class. Yes, definitely. Yeah, because my daughter-in-law, she buys these. I'm like, well, here, I'll teach you. She didn't know all the different things and how you would do it. And, well, how did you erase? Like, oh, you had, you know, liquid paper that you could go in, or you had, remember the typing paper that was white and you'd go back and type the letter and it would knock the letter out. Then you'd put the other, whatever letter was supposed to be in that spot. It is not denim ribbon. This is the cotton ribbon that's in the clearance rack right now. It comes as a combo pack with a like a pale pink. I don't know if is it petal pink or I don't know, something light pink, and then the blue, and it's pretty. I'm going to put my flowers on before I lose them. So we'll do a flower nestling here by the H in high. And then I'm going to tuck another one right there, making sure they're not on the same angle. And this one is going to, well, my original has it here, but my bow is different today. So I'm going to hold on to that for a second. Now let's figure out our letters here. I think I'm going to start with the L that's in the center of hello. And I'm gluing it. The reason I'm gluing is that because there's already a lot of dimension going here. Okay, so yes, Kayleen, it is worth buying that pack while it's in the clearance rack. It's $3.60 for 2 spools of ribbon. Awesome. It is really cool ribbon. Antoinette, bringing back memories. You still have your mom's typewriter from the late 50s. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to actually slide my card over here to use my grid paper. So 2 1/8, I'm just kind of eyeballing. It's going to be right about there. So there's my L. What the L, man? Sorry. Here's the other L. And you know, you can overlap them a little bit. But it's deceiving because you've got these, you've got the typewriters on an angle. So you're like, what is straight? Okay. I'm going to grab some more makeshift mini dimensionals here. And for the E, I'm going to tuck this and kind of make a little bridge there that I can put the E down. So the E is partially up and partially, and now we'll do the H. Move it out just a little bit. and O. Ooh, it's gonna go right in there. So I see my bow's a little low, but that's okay. It is where it is. It's where it's at. So we'll do a little glue here. Hello. Cute, 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 cute. Just kind of coming across. And now I'm glad I waited for the flower because I see exactly where I want to put it. I'm going to nestle it right. It's kind of where the other one is. No, that's not where I'm going to put it. So 1, 2, maybe we'll do it right here. Yeah, that's different. A little different than my original. Totally okay. So there's that. Now in your smalls bag, I don't even remember the name of these, but I had a bunch. I'm working through them. These dark iridescent black, I don't what they were, but they're kind of bluish. So you have 5 of them. And then we also have in here, these are from Happiness Abounds. We've got those. We're going to use those up. Whoops, the flowers we'll use on our last card. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use these. I'm just going to use, I don't even know why we colored the flowers because these are just going to go in the centers. We have them. Let's use them up, right? Make it cute and dimensional. Right there. Get over here. I have a few more of these left in my stamp room. And now for these, I'm gonna just sprinkle these around in different places. So I'm gonna do in here by the, and these, I can't tell if they're all the same size. They came in 2 different sizes, but I start to look at them and I don't see the difference between them anymore. So I'm doing some on the navy, and then I'm going to do a couple up here on the piece of white. 1, and here's the last one. Okay. Cute. Using up stuff. I love how these bubbles bring out the typewriter and the hello. It just, all little circles. Makes it cute. Okay, wink. Wink of Stella. Stella! Let's hit the flowers. Just pop them up a little bit. Pump them up. Hope this one sticks. I might have to do a little more glue on that one since it's on it's on ribbon. Okay, there it is, folks. There is card number 2. Cute, different. It's different. And we are in the home stretch. 1 card to go. And this is a cute, okay. So this one is really, really cute. So Antoinette, you missed the first card. Well, I'll show it to you. Antoinette, no, you didn't miss the first card because you were talking about the color. This was the first card. This was the second card. You got them all. Okay, thanks, Marcia. Okay, this next card is, I don't know if you saw this on my blog or on Instagram Tuesday, but I made this for a color challenge for hand-stamped sentiments. And the color challenge was Coastal Cabana, Granny Apple Green, and Poppy Parade. And then sometimes when you make a card, I'm like, gosh, I just really like that card. I don't know what it is about this card that maybe it's the Coastal Cabana typewriter. That's probably it. So we're going to do, what I really liked about this card was my background. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to do that one. We're going to do a slightly different one, but we are going to use the word hello, and we are going to create our own background paper. Okay, and keep your Stampin' Chamois nearby because we're going to be doing a lot of stamp, clean, stamp, clean, stamp, clean. We're going to use these 3 colors. We're going to use Fresh Freesia, Daffodil Delight, and Petal Pink. Okay, you did see that one, Karen. Well, I'm glad you saw it. I think I like the card. I thought it turned out you know, like I say, sometimes, that's an okay card. And then sometimes you do one, you're like, what is it? And maybe it's that it's 5 by 5. Okay. And then the inside has a little bit more action going in. Yeah, I think this torn notebook does that die. We were talking about that earlier, Kayleen, before you popped on. Okay, so we're going to bring in our foam pad again, our stand-in for today, and grab a piece of white from your Use It Up kit. Okay, you actually have 2 more pieces of white, and one of those whites could go inside the Misty Moonlight if you wanted to add a layer in there. I didn't, but you can. Okay, so we're going to start with Fresh Freesia, and it doesn't matter the order. We're just going to use the 3 colors, like our inspiration card there. Actually, before we do this, I want to trim this piece of paper down because I want a little bit of my card base to show. So this is 4 1/4 by 5. I'm going to trim this down to be 4 1/16. I like killing myself with crazy measurements. 4 1/16. Nice. By, so that was 4 1/16. Okay, by 5, and don't make me count the 16ths. We're going to come in 3 from a half. How's that? So I'll count them. It's 2, 4, 5 16ths. 5 and 5 16ths. Yowza. There we have it. Okay. Exactly. Or you want to say bam, or you want to drop the mic. It's like, oh yeah, that one just nailed it. And then sometimes you're like, yeah, that one was trying too hard. If you know what I mean. I have a lot of those that are trying too hard. Okay. So I actually think I'm going to turn my paper because it's kind of got a little bit of you know, it's higher on one side. Okay. So here's hello. And I'm going to pull this down just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to stamp that right up there at the top, just like so. I like that this image is just the right size for stretching across a full-size card. Okay, a little cleanup. There's Freesia. Now my next color is Petal Pink. Give it a good clean. Again, tap, don't push. Tap and twist, tap and twist. And now just align this right up. And you guys, I'm hoping I'm kind of stamping straight, but the camera is right where I want my head to be. The foam. Okay, there's right, that is the Petal Pink. Now for some Daffodil Delight. I don't know why I want to call it Delightful Dijon. Anybody remember that color? Came and went. Nobody even remembered it, right? Right there is hello. Hello, hello, hello. Now we'll go back to Fresh Freesia. Tap, tap, tap. And we're just going to work ourselves all the way down the card. Oops, I left a little bit more space on that one. Next color, Petal Pink. There. Talk about an easy background, but kind of cool. Yeah, this hello is easy to line up, except for when you have a phone right where you want your forehead to be, so you can see what you're doing. There. Hopefully I have room for 2 more rows. It looks like it's going to be tight because I left a gap in there. That's okay. Or actually, I did them tighter than I did on my original because I finished with this color here. Okay. Well, slightly different than the original. That's okay. Totally okay. In fact, I should show you before I stamp this last one. When I did it on the 5 by 5 card here, you can see I actually intentionally left a gap there. Whoops, that's for a different card. Anyhow, So same sort of thing. Now, the thing I did different on this one is some of these were stamped off. They weren't full strength. These are all full strength ink. I think I'll do the same thing. I'll just leave a little gap. That one on my other one was totally intentional because I had a word going through it, but this is okay too. Call it art. Each one's a little bit different, right? We can close all these pads. We are done with these pads. The rest of what we're going to stamp for this card is going to be in Tuxedo Black, Memento. And you need the Memento because we're going to be doing some ink blending with Stampin' Blends. And let's see here. Where do I have? Okay, so another piece of your paper here. And let's give this a quick clean. This is my black Memento, Tuxedo Memento ink, Tuxedo Black. And I'm just tapping all over. And I can see there's some funky tap marks in here. So I'm going to see if I can clean that up a little bit. There we go. Looks better. Same drill as before. We're going to cut this out. So just pop this down in the bottom. Ugh. Really want that ink to... Yes! That looks awesome. Pat myself on the back. And this time, no paper. We're going to do the florals, little garden here. We'll stamp that coming up out of the typewriter. Tap, 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 tap. And we'll put that right there. Ta-da! How cute is that? Oh my goodness, I love it. And we're going to use our embellishment stamp. But they're only imitation. So these are imitation embellishments. Stamp 5. Had to look at my original here. How many are we making? We're making 5. 5 flowers. Okay? So let's do some coloring. And so for this card, I'm going to color with, I'm going to bring in some Petal Pink and some Fresh Freesia. And so my Petal Pink and dark. We're going to do both. And a little bit of yellow as well. So I only have light Petal Pink out. I'm not pulling out any of the other Petal Pinks, the dark. And I'm going to color, let's do the centers of the flowers first. Same drill. We're going to do light, then dark, and we're going to make that little C. And what I mean by C is I'm just going to color like the letter C. I'm just going to kind of do a quick, or it's a half circle, and it just creates a real fast little, gives me a little shadow, contour, and highlight all at the very same time. I'm not quite sure, if you can kind of see, there's that little bit of little highlight right in there. I like it. Okay, light Petal Pink on my petals here. Then, while the ink is still pretty wet, I want to come in with Fresh Freesia and just do kind of some ink blending. I really do like, the light and the dark, I've said this before, the light and the dark of each color is cool, but when you throw in another color, so now we're mixing Petal Pink with Fresh Freesia, it really makes for some interesting blends. So I'm just going to leave that open for now, and we'll do these quick flowers here. And of course, we've got to fussy cut these all out, but I've done that ahead of time. And I think they're all colored too. Yeah, I just took a look. They are. Okay. All right. Sometimes I'm adding more freesia, sometimes a little less. No rhyme or reason, just kind of throw it in there. So we'll let those kind of dry and wick and blend. And now for my flowers here, I'm going to do a mixture of all the colors. I'm going to pull in some, I'm going to use the dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to color some petals here. These are so little. And what else do I want to do? You know, just have some fun. Maybe we'll make all of this this is petal pink. We're just going for some pink and some purple and some yellow. Just kind of add some color here and there. It's a little harder to give these, you know, total exact, you know, to go in there and totally give them all kinds of, you know, cool. This one you can do a little bit more, which I'm going to do right here. Give it just a little bit more interest with the blends. But because the area is so small, can't do a ton. And then let's see, I think I'll do some more yellow leaves over here. Who has yellow leaves? Well, in my world, there are yellow leaves out there. They're not all green, but it just kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. And I think I'll just do some petal pink over here. Yeah, just have some fun. And maybe just dot a little bit of purple in there. Okay, that's all I'm going to do on that. And now I am going to take these elements and cut these all out, which I've done ahead of time. Oops, I didn't color this. Oh, that was not so brilliant. But my flowers are all colored. Okay, my 5 flowers here. Hopefully I don't lose them. I think I will do a real fast, quick color here. This is the brush marker end, not the nib. It's the one I pulled off first. Okay. And I'll just kind of do a couple of these we'll color in the leaves later. But this way you get a little bit of the effect of the card. Okay. Oh, just clean them. Just do them now. Just clean it up, be done. Color them all. Didn't take that long. Okay, good enough. Okay, so dimensionals on the back, just like we did on the first 2 cards. So you can see how each of these cards are kind of coming together to look, you know, they definitely are by me. Okay, I'm going to go back to my gorgeously made dies, and this die here that I said could kind of look like tape or washi tape or torn paper, I have cut 2 of those out on my piece of paper here. So cut yourself 2, or just even cut yourself some strips of paper. Let's see how wide this is. This is about a 1/2 inch wide by 2 1/4 inches long, however long you need yours to be. So there's that. So I have those, and I'm going to use this stamp here that says, "You hold the key to my heart." And we're going to bring in Memento ink again and some Scotch tape. And I am going to just cover up the key to my heart. Oops, got to cover the whole thing though. Okay, key to my heart. Not much good to mask it if you don't get the whole word, right? These flowers out of the typewriter won't be as easy to, oh, you know what? Okay, it's not bad. It's not too bad. The nice thing is you're not going down, you know, you're just kind of going on the tops. So it's easier. I first did it and I cut the whole thing out and it was a mess. I'm like, that's just too much. Okay, so the "You hold the" is the first thing we're going to stamp on one of these little doodads here. Peel off your tape. Don't forget to peel off your tape. I've done it where I have forgotten, and you're like, ah, man, what's that big blop? Okay, put that right in the center. You hold the, clean this. And let's do the same drill. This time we're going to cover up, you hold the. And we'll ink up Key to My Heart. Take this off. And this one's a little tight, but eke it in there, it works. Oh, I'm crooked. That's okay. That's okay, because we're going to put it on crooked, so it's going to look just more crooked, right? Okay, let's assemble. In your packet, you have a, this is Fresh Freesia, and it's a top fold card. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, and we will add this to our card base. And just center that the best you can. Looking good, looking good. And now my typewriter will be the first thing I put down. And it's going to come over here to the side, kind of reminiscent of my, this was my inspiration. And for this, I'm going to put a partial dimensional. Man, I really want some minis. I'm telling you, man. I need them to arrive. So on the U end, I have a dimensional. Okay, so that's on this end. And then I'll do some, oh, I'm sorry. This is going to be a Big Mac. This is dimensional all the way across. So I need another portion. Okay, so Big Mac, the U end, and then just a single on the end, because it's going to kind of hang over the edge here. So this one's going to go right across like that. You hold the, and then we'll do some dimensionals on this one as well. And I'm just going to kind of put this down towards the bottom so that I know it won't hit the typewriter. This one won't matter. But I have this one on the Key to My Heart, on the key end, because it's going to come right in here. I just want to make sure it doesn't hit. And it is hitting a little bit, so I'm going to trim some of this dimensional away. Or, I've got another idea. I just took the dimensional all the way off, and I'm just going to tuck it under there like that. Should have done that in the first place. And then this is going to come across here, like so. Cute, cute, cute. And then we'll add our flowers. And I have these flowers kind of sprinkled a bit of everywhere. There's one. And another one, making sure it's not in the same direction. There. Here. And here. And we're going to do one more up here, just like that. Okay. Let me close my ink pad. And I don't even remember what these are called. Anybody remember these little cute flowers? I don't even remember what other colors they came in, but this is the last of them for me. I'll do one like right in here, and I'm just gonna sprinkle them here, and I think I'll do another one. This is different than my original. See, I don't want to do it here because then they're in a diagonal line. Maybe we'll just have to go. I'm going to go here and I'm going to move this one slightly. Maybe I'm going to move it. We need to do like Julie says. You just tap them on. And then once you know that that's exactly where you like them, then push them down for real. Okay, one left over. I could put it on, but it's a little overkill. Little wink of Stella. But that's not our last touch here. So I'm going to wink of Stella all the flowers. And then we'll give it a good splattering, right? Because we can. And I'm a little twisted and sick about it because I just have to have it. Okay, that sparkle. Now, if you'll remember in my inspiration card here, I'll show you what I've got going on my original. And that is that I did the bow as well. So here's one without the bow and one with the bow. So you tell me, should we add it? Because I need to kind of tell you what I did with this to get my own petal pink twine there. What I did, I took this is the Baker's Twine Essentials Pack. You can tell I'm already all out of white. So I'm going to use the cream color here and my petal pink marker. That's not a marker, it's a Stampin' Blend, right? With my petal pink blend and a piece of this, I'm going to, whoops, a little extra. I'm going to take a pretty decent chunk, and here's how I'm going to know how much I'm going to do. I'm going to tie a Tammy bow. Marcia said, yes, add the bow. Okay, we're adding the bow. So I'm going to leave a tail about yay long, and I'm going to wrap the twine around my fingers twice, and then leave a tail about that long again. Okay, my tail was probably about 6 inches, 5 to 6 inches long. Okay, so now this piece, let's see, let's give it an actual measurement here. So there's 16 plus 10, it's got about 26 inches here of ribbon, not ribbon, twine. And I'm gonna color this. And when you're coloring your twine, make sure you're not bending the tip. So kind of hold your pen on a pretty steep angle, and that will help not ruin your tip, if you know what I mean. I have so many junky tips because I do a lot of, splattering of ink with these, and it really is harsh on your tips of your Stampin' Blend to do that. Same thing with this technique, but if you do it kind of sideways and try and get further up on the tip of the pen, you'll help save, and the pen will last longer. Stampin' Blend, I should say. Okay, now on my original, I actually went over this one more time, the whole thing, but for time's sake, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just definitely going to get this center section done. Just give yourself, and now look at that, we have petal pink twine. Do just a little bit more. Just color that twine. Takes a little bit of time. Now, here goes the Tammy bow. If you've done it or watched her videos, she'll show you how. Sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I have to start over. Let's see if I'm successful. Because I've tied many bows, many floral bows in my days, but this is a little different approach, and I like her approach. What's fun about it is, I noticed we've got some holidays in here, like painting, when you've got a part of the wall that's not painted. What's cool about the approach on this bow is there are 4 loops and only 2 ties. So that's what makes this kind of cool. So again, I have my tail here, and I'm going to wrap around my fingers twice. Okay, so let me just kind of lay that out. I wish I didn't have all that coloring on there, but there's 2 loops around my fingers and 2 tails. Now I'm going to grab the center of this, and with the right tail, I'm going to wrap around it once. Okay, so that's coming around the back. Now it's coming around the front. And I'm going to go in through that loop I just tied in the center. And I'm going to hunker down on that. I'm just going to kind of wiggle it over and hunker down. Okay. Now, you might not be hunkering down, and it might not, see how I can kind of spin it from side to, I mean, not spin it, but slide it from side to side. That's okay. This might not tighten all the way like you would like have a super tight shoestring bow, but that's okay, because then it allows you to play with these a little bit and get them to the right size that you want them. Like I can pull a little bit from side to side. Okay, I would tie another one, but this one worked okay. So I'm going to grab my tails and give them a little bit of a trim. Now you think, oh, look at all that wasted. This is not wasted. I needed that to be able to maneuver things. If it gets too short, you just can't quite maneuver what you're wanting to do. Okay, so then my placement on this, I'm going to go ahead and put just a couple glue dots on the back of the knot here. How do I know what the back and the front of the knot is? It's just by preference. You just decide which side you like better of the bow and then flip it over. Okay, so I'm going to peel a few of these off. And I'll do 2 on this, kind of 1 to each side of the knot. And I'm just pressing that into the twine so that it'll grab those fibers. Get off. Glue dot covering. Okay. And now we'll just reach that under the typewriter. And then just kind of fluff things how you like them. And there you have it, a Tammy bow. Go Tammy Wilson. All right, now there's a faux Tammy bow that you could do, and my tails are still a little too long. And that is, you could do the loops, and I'll show you that one right now. Is what you could do. You would have one piece of twine, just kind of ready. And I'm just gonna sit this sideways like this. Okay, or not sideways, it's gonna be perpendicular to our bow. We're gonna tie our bow, just like we did, tails and 2 loops. Okay, and I'm not actually gonna do this, cut it off, but you get the idea. I did my tails in 2 loops, and then you take these, well, let me make my loops a little bigger so you can see them. Okay, one more time. So big loops, just for visual sake. So there's my 2 loops, my 2 tails, right? And then this piece is my perpendicular piece, and I'm just gonna tie this in a tight, tight knot right around that. Okay, tie it in a tight knot. Give it one more so it won't come undone. And then keep track of those 2 short tails. Okay, these are the ones you just tied. And you're gonna clip those pretty tight. And there you have a faux Tammy bow. And so what you'll do is, my one end here is twisted funny. I just want you to be able to see the loop. So there's the 2 loops on each side and then a tail to each side. So now what you'll do with this little knot right here, you just have to hide that so it doesn't show. And that's pretty easy to do, okay? So that's kind of like in a floral bow, you would do that with a wire, and then the wire goes into whatever you're working on. So there you have it, Tammy bow and then a faux Tammy bow. So do whichever one best suits you. You just kind of have to practice the other one and knowing how far to go on that last little loop around, and then you can get it pretty good. But let's bring our cards back in from today. So we have this was our fun background inspired by Hand Stamped Sentiments Challenge. And then here's our second card. And then our first, I think this is really kind of a fun spring summery card here. So there it is. Have some fun with the Just My Type. I'm planning to do some more with this and work on pulling out more of these images. I love this little rainbow and the envelope. So cute stuff. Glad you were here today. And I said we would change things up and that we would do the business at the end and in between. So We've done a little business, but not all of it. Next week's class is So Refreshing. Here is the stamp set. Michelle likes to call this the Flying Carpet dies. So yes, that one does look a little bit like a flying carpet, but this is really a cute set, you guys. It was not on my radar, and I worked with it and then was like, oh yeah. Technique time will be in 2 weeks. We are going to be taking a deep dive into the Cheerful Daisies bundle. If you have a $50 order this month on the host code, you can get this kit for free. I will send it right to you. If you have a $75 order on the host code, you're going to get this kit, and you're going to get next month's Use It Up kit for free. So that's 2 kits, okay? So Cheerful Daisies is coming up in a couple weeks. Then we're going to upstyle our paper pumpkin, the Fun in the Sun. I'm curious to see how this fun fold paper pumpkin kit comes together. That will be a good time. And then, like I say, Bird's Eye View is a week after that. Do be on the lookout for Studio Ink Spot's information. It is coming soon. So I told you those dates. Again, if you didn't hear them, they are September 15th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So we will catch you guys all a little bit later. See ya. Bye-bye.